that's where we're starting, I am excited to tell you about the rest of the 4. So, all right, does this sound like you? You sign in for your business, gather all your emails, you're gathering all your tasks, you're checking all your different social media profiles because your notifications are off the charts. You've finally responded to everybody, and then you realize you're like, wait, now what do I do? And, gosh forbid you have some sort of fire or problem you're dealing with throughout all of that, right? And at the end of the day, you're actually left feeling like you didn't get anything done. I mean, you did a lot of stuff, but you didn't make any progress forward. You only maintained what you have going on currently. So the reality is, the fix to this is to have all of that stuff in one location so that you can make smarter decisions, and you don't have to go from platform to platform. You don't have to have like 27,000 tabs open. You and I are the same. But once I switched this, then I was able to actually operate from one window with a couple tabs, not like multiple windows, all with 20 tabs. In this video, I'm going to talk about the 5 best and most underrated thing about ClickFunnels and why they are actually useful for your business beyond just the fact that I'm saying, okay, use this software. Because there are 5 things that you don't realize are actually wasting a lot of your time in your business that you don't actually have to be wasting. So the first one is that there is actually a default integration within ClickFunnels, so you can build Zapiers from directly within ClickFunnels. So if you look at the number of platforms you have to use for your business, you're never going to get away with just one. So you are going to need more than one. But the reality hits when you realize, like, okay, crap, like now I have to go check 3 separate social media platforms, and then I have to go check my email, and then I have to go, check in with school and my community, and then I have to go check in with the customer service and finance and all of these things, and all of a sudden you're like all over the place, right? So you want to be able to look at everything from one location. Furthermore, you make better business decisions when you have all of your up-to-date data in one place, and you're actually making real-time decisions based off of data. And we'll talk about that in the second thing. But you can actually build and use your integrations with Zapier from directly within ClickFunnels. So you can build a Zapier that connects ClickFunnels to school from directly within ClickFunnels. You don't have to go over to Zapier to build the automations that connect those 2 platforms. So already you are mitigating an entire step in the process simply by using ClickFunnels, because you can access Zapier from directly within ClickFunnels. So that's where we're starting. I am excited to tell you about the rest of the 4. So the second one is link tracking. Now, everybody thinks about link shortening as, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to make shorter links so they are easier to share. Totally true. However, there is a better way to think about shorter links and link tracking. And that is because every single thing on the internet has one link, one location, one house. If you think about it, it's like the address to your actual house. Now, if you're going to use the program like Waze and you're going to get directions to that house, all of a sudden there's like 15,000 ways to get to that one single address. And so when it comes to link tracking, you actually need to be able to know where the traffic is coming from. This is all the gurus online. They're like, build a lead magnet. And it's like, okay, super. But then if I came to you and said, okay, so where does all the traffic for your lead magnet come from? Everyone's like, well, this link, and I put it in every single description I have. Oh, okay, cool. Well, do you know from where you're putting that link where the most traction is coming from? And the answer is always going to be, I don't know. So if you simply, let's just even make a very simple example. So you use Instagram, you use YouTube, and you use LinkedIn. So if you create 3 separate links that all go to the same lead magnet, 3 separate links though that track those 3 separate platforms, then if I came to you and said, okay, where do you get the most traffic for your lead magnets? You're going to be able to say, well, LinkedIn actually has the most clicks, or YouTube has the most clicks. If you want to get even, sexier about it, then you actually create separate links for each piece of content so that later you can look at what content, what topics are driving the most traffic. And that's how you make data-backed business decisions that are actually going to move you forward and not keep you stuck and in maintenance mode. All right, so the third thing you can do on ClickFunnels is dynamic marketing. Now, everyone talks about marketing in the sense of, okay, we are, you find your ideal client and you fine-tune your messaging, and you you reach their pain points and their struggles and you tell them their deepest desires and they go, oh my God, you know me. It's like you read my diary. So if you're making content about content marketing and you're trying to help people with content marketing, then what resonates with one person isn't necessarily what's going to resonate with everybody, right? So when it comes to ClickFunnels, you're able to dynamically target people based off of what resonated with them most. So for instance, if somebody's coming from Instagram versus somebody's coming from YouTube, the next logical step is going to vary depending on what brought them in your world in the first place. So if you're able to dynamically, which means you're able to individually track from person to person what brought them in your world in the first place.
Oh my God, what a brilliant idea.
If you're an established business, you have more than one lead magnet. So if you're able to dynamically retarget people based off of whatever brought them in your world in the first place. So say somebody comes in your world for the lead magnet of the top 5 viral content marketing strategies versus you have another lead magnet that is the top 5 AI prompts to 10x your content production, right? So those are two very different, they're both tangentially related, but they're two very different topics. And so if you're able to actually target people based off of what brings them into your world in the first place, you have a higher likelihood of getting the sale from them later because they actually feel seen, heard, and that you are on the same journey with them. One product could solve two very different problems, but you have to make both of these people feel like you're talking to them directly. So how do you do that? Through ClickFunnels and dynamic marketing, because you're able to track and target people based off of what brought them to you in the first place. So the fourth one is you're actually able to manage all of your emailing in one place. And this doesn't just include broadcasts and follow-up automated sequences and newsletters and things of that sort. It's not even just all of that. You can actually manage through Message Hub all of your emails, meaning that anybody who, if you send an email that asks for a response, so for instance, a lot of people use the strategy of the first email you send to your prospective clients, like once they become a new lead, is, hey, respond with X, Y, or Z. You want them to respond because that signals to Google, like, this is not spam, right? So that gives you a higher likelihood of landing in their inbox the second time around when you send them a second email. So a tactic of send the first email, ask for a response, and then that automatically whitelists your email address in Google to be like, okay, this person's actually legit. This is somebody this person actually wants to talk to. With all of that being said, when it comes to people responding to those messages, right? Like you asked for a response when people, you can't like all of a sudden be like, oh, ghosting people when they actually respond. So you want to be able to have one place for all of that to be managed. ClickFunnels gives you the ability to not only broadcast, so it not only just send and distribute to your whole list or create automated follow-up sequences for your lead magnets and, newsletters, whatnot. You can also manage the responses that people actually give you because one, like I said in the strategy, you're asking them to respond. So it's only appropriate to actually respond back to the responses, right? But if you're having to go over here to write things, and then you're having to go over here to send things, and you're having to go over here to respond and check things, like all of a sudden your workflow is so much more spread out and it takes you so much longer to do because everything is everywhere, right? Versus if it's all in one place, then it's boom, 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 check, check, check. Got it. What's next, right? It's simply about making your life simpler and easier by having everything in one place. So last but certainly not least is number 5, and that is appointment setting. So it's not a problem in and of itself that you need a scheduler, right? Like this is not what I'm talking about. I'm saying that if you have to add an additional platform, not only is that adding an additional subscription, it's adding another place that you have to go to manage things. It's adding another software that you have to keep up to date. Like if your availability changes, you have to go to a separate software, you have to change things, you have to update things. If you want to add new offers, then you have to go to a separate platform. So ClickFunnels within its default apps has its own scheduling, which you can do paid meetings or you can do free ones. And so there are some things that I want to, ClickFunnels, if you're listening, I want you to build automations based on if people no call, no show. Like I want you to build those out. Other than that though, you can manage your appointments from within ClickFunnels itself. And again, all 5 of these things, the reason I'm calling them underrated is because simply all you have to do is not go to 15 different places, right? Like the whole point of this whole video and all of these points is that you're making your life simpler because you only have to be in one location to do all your work. Like the first one, where Zapier is natively integrated into ClickFunnels, so you can actually, it's not that you're not going to be connecting to other platforms. That's not actually true. No business can operate simply from one platform alone, right? Like, it's not actually possible to find one software that does everything. Despite Salesforce telling you that, I was a Salesforce consultant for almost 10 years. Like, it's not possible. It's not how it works. But they've tried, but it's not how it actually works. If you're able to diminish not only how many different platforms you need to use, but how many tabs you need to have open, how many different context switches you need to do, it's going to, by default, make your business more efficient and productive, which is the whole mission of my business, which is to save every business owner 10 hours every single week. If we can make your 40-hour work week 30 hours, imagine what you could do with those extra 10 hours. I mean, honestly, the sky is the limit, because you could, for me, it's going to be spending more time with the horses. That's why I'm out here this morning recording this video at the barn, For me, it's spending more time with the horses. But for you, it may be, spending more time with your family. But you could also reallocate those 10 hours to making more money. So let's say you bill yourself at $100 an hour. You get 10 hours back. That's $1,000 back a week in time alone. But then you take those 10 hours and you make $10,000, right? Then all of a sudden the 10 hours back becomes the value of $11,000. So the sky is really the limit, and it's what you do with your time that matters. However, the first step to that is actually making a productive and efficient ecosystem for your business to operate. So if you need some tech clarity on your tech stack, how to make your life easier, not harder, because as I always say, the work you do should not be harder than how you do your work. So if you want to schedule your own tech clarity consultation, that link is down below. And I practice what I preach, so I am tracking that link, and I'm going to know that you came from this video. So I will see you on the call if you want more help from me. Otherwise, subscribe and like this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.